Hello, my name is Craig Mender. This is my professional project for education psychology. The professor is Dr. Selena Eccles. Today, we're going to discuss the impact that standardized testing is having on how teachers teach, how students learn, and also the impact that it's having on the curriculum. The purpose of this presentation is to define standardized testing and the impacts that it's having on the school system. We're going to discuss the impacts that it's having on teachers, the impacts that it's having on students and their ability to learn, how it's reducing curriculum within the school system, and offer some suggestions or some recommendations to help with standardized testing. Whether inadvertently or on purpose, standardized testing has impacted the educational system. It's changed the roles of teachers, and it's forced curriculum to be reduced in order for teachers to focus on the test approach. It's also impacted socioeconomic classes, English language learners, and had an impact on the self-perception of students. Standardized tests are tests that are given, graded, and measured in a consistent way in order for large groups to be able to be compared. They're mandated most of the time by the state, and they're used to grade schools, determine who's going to get funding, and rate teachers. Oftentimes, they're used to rate students as well. With an increased importance on standardized testing, teachers have stated that their roles have changed, that they're spending more time doing institutional tasks as a result of these tests. Teachers are collecting and analyzing data as a result of the test, grouping and regrouping students based upon their grades, and even designing a curriculum that's based around the test themselves. Either way, it's impacting the time that teachers have to teach the class. With the rise of the importance of standardized testing, teachers find themselves more and more teaching for the test. They estimate about 26 days a year they spend preparing their students for the test. They're required to prepare their students through practice tests and other instructional computer software that'll get the students comfortable with the actual format of the test. And this mandated structure really works against what teachers have been taught and have learned about tailoring their lesson plans to the actual needs of their students. They're also not able to allot some time for their students to teach them the soft skills that are important in education: self-discipline, perseverance, work ethic, all those things that could benefit them down the road. Standardized tests have also impacted the amount of the curriculum that's covered, as well as the number of subjects that are offered. Certain school districts have had to reduce the number of subjects that they offer within their schools because they're not included on the standardized tests. In addition, teachers are forced to prepare students for the test curriculum and the content on the test, as opposed to cover the entire subject matter. Self-identification is a very important part of education. The rigid and inflexible rating system of some standardized testing, whether it's non-proficient or proficient, can make students feel as if they're not successful if they're labeled as non-proficient. In addition, standardized tests don't cover all skill sets that a student may have. So those with a skill set outside of what's covered in the standardized testing may not feel validated in their skills. Standardized testing can also have an impact on socioeconomic factors. English language learners, or non-English speaking students, are our fastest growing population of students in America. The tests are not written in their native language and can be difficult for them to pass or to understand. Standardized tests have also been proven to be biased towards minority groups and poor. It's proven that white middle class students score better on these tests than do minority students. And this can be an unfair impact, as it can impact their graduation rates, hireability, as well as long-term earning potential. Another significant impact that standardized testing is having in the educational system is the impact it's having on the student's learning experience. Students are spending more time in learning how to take the standardized tests successfully, but are not always possessing a mastery of the subject that's being taught. If you've ever been to a classroom or to a school, you'll see that during test days, the school or the class is on lockdown, and it's really creating less than a conducive learning environment. And lastly, students are losing valuable classroom time learning. It's estimated that students take more than 20 standardized tests per year, which greatly affects the time that they spend in the classroom with their teacher and learning that subject. In putting this all together, clearly standardized testing is important. It's necessary to help us monitor the progress of our schools, as well as to ensure that each student is getting the education that they deserve. As educators, it's our job to ensure that these standardized tests are fair, accurate assessments of each student's ability. Here's some recommendations for ensuring that that is the case. First off, let's create standardized tests that require more critical thinking skills. This allows teachers to work outside of the framework of the curriculum given to them and to develop these skills, the skills of critical thinking that are so important to students in school and after they leave school. Secondly, we must ensure that each standardized test is a fair, valid, and accurate measure of each student's knowledge, skill, and ability, regardless of race, ethnicity, or socioeconomic situation. And lastly, we should increase the scope of testing to include subjects outside of language arts and mathematics. So many subjects have been squeezed out of curriculum because of the need to improve scores. This would create a demand or a need for these subjects, but also create well-rounded students that can be impactful in the world once they leave school. Like we said, standardized testing is extremely important. It's necessary. It'll be part of our system. As educators, it's our job to ensure that it's the best that it can be. Thank you.